7 states are going to court against the administration's birth control mandate. It's the latest challenge to the controversial new rule.
The legal battles raise a key question about the requirement. Is it unconstitutional? Jennifer Wishon has the story from Washington.
Birth control pills, the morning after pill, sterilization. The Obama administration calls them preventive services. Some religious teachings call them immoral. Proposed rules under the president's health care law require health insurance companies to provide contraceptives free of charge. It's a mandate some believe violates the Constitution.
Never before has the federal government forced individuals and organizations to go out into the marketplace and buy a product that violates their conscience.
Facing growing outrage, President Obama offered a fix. Instead of requiring religious-affiliated organizations like Catholic Charities to include contraception coverage in their insurance policies, employees who work for those organizations can get contraceptives directly from their insurance company free of charge, leaving their employer out of the loop.
These employers will not have to pay for or provide contraceptive services. But women who work at these institutions will have access to free contraceptive services just like other women.
The fix satisfied some organizations, but the top Catholic bishop in the U.S. has promised legislative and legal challenges to the move, and some groups are already suing the administration.
The president seems to think that your conscience should feel better if instead of writing on page 2, I will cover abortion, drugs, and contraceptives, he just staples it onto the back after the policy's out of your hands. But it's a distinction without a moral difference. It doesn't change anything.
Mark Rienzi is senior legal counsel for the Becket Fund for Religious Liberty, which is suing the Obama administration on behalf of 4 religious employers, 2 Catholic colleges, an evangelical Christian college, and EWTN, a Catholic broadcasting network based in Alabama. Rienzi says the president's fix divides religious institutions into 3 different groups: churches, which enjoy the most constitutional protections; religious-affiliated institutions, which employ or serve people of other faiths, get little protection; and individuals, lay people like those who founded EWTN, get none.
Well, the Constitution doesn't give the president the power to pick and choose which religious individuals and organizations he wants to protect. That really is above his pay grade. That's not a power the government has.
Polls indicate many Catholics use birth control despite church teachings against it. But Rienzi says that's no excuse for the administration to violate the Constitution.
In other words, we don't look at the Jehovah's Witnesses who say, I can't salute the flag, and say, well, that's not a very popular view, so you don't have your rights. We give them their rights. Everyone has their religious liberty rights, and you don't get to say, because some Catholics willingly do something, I can force the rest of them to do it in violation of their rights. It's just not the way constitutional rights work.
The health care law also faces another constitutional challenge. This spring, the Supreme Court will hear arguments for and against the law's individual mandate that requires Americans to buy health insurance. Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, Washington.
Well, expect more court challenges, not just on the issue of religious liberty, but just on the basic of the constitutionality of the law. Now that 7 states have joined in, there's already a case that's headed to the Supreme Court. This is going to be an issue for some time and will be a political issue going forward to the election. Lee Webb has the rest of our top stories from the CBN Newsroom.
Gordon, the Obama administration is condemning Iran for the imprisonment and persecution of Pastor Youssef Nadarkhani. It's calling on nations around the world to demand his release. The Iranian pastor was convicted of apostasy. He now faces a death sentence for refusing to renounce Christianity and return to Islam. The American Center for Law and Justice, though, is working to help free Nadarkhani. They report a friend saw him alive this Tuesday, but there's been no word on his fate since. The widow of an assassinated Iranian nuclear scientist says her husband was seeking the annihilation of Israel. Mustafa Ahmadi Rashan was killed by a car bomb last month in Tehran. His widow told Iran's news agency her husband's goal was to destroy the Zionist regime and support the rights of Palestinians. Some analysts say this points to the true purpose of Iran's nuclear program, but Iranian officials claim the country's nuclear program is not for military purposes. 4,600 churches around the world plan to observe Freedom Sunday this weekend. Their goal, to raise awareness of human trafficking. The United Nations says as many as 2 million children are victims of sex trafficking worldwide. Here at home, experts like Shared Hope International estimate at least 100,000 American children are victims every year. You can find out more about this fight against trafficking by going to our website at cbnnews.com. Rising gas prices have quickly become an election year issue. The president says his energy strategy will reduce the country's long-term dependence on foreign oil. But Republicans say the president's policies have driven up the cost of fuel. They point to fewer permits for drilling and his rejection of the Keystone Pipeline project. The president says there's little the federal government can do to halt the current increase in gas prices.
The single biggest thing that's causing the price of oil to spike right now is instability in the Middle East. This time around Iran. When uncertainty increases, speculative trading on Wall Street increases, and that drives prices up even more. So those are the biggest short-term factors at work here.
The White House, though, worries that the high cost of fuel could undermine the president's re-election bid. A new Associated Press poll shows 58% of Americans disapprove of how the president is handling this situation. A federal judge has ruled the Defense of Marriage Act is unconstitutional. The law defines marriage as a relationship between a man and a woman. U.S. District Judge Jeffrey White says the government's denial of all federal benefits to same-sex couples is discriminatory. This is the second time a federal judge has ruled DOMA unconstitutional. It's the first time since the Obama administration announced last year it will no longer defend that law in federal court. Operation Blessing provided much-needed supplies to a southeastern Virginia homeless shelter. The Judeo-Christian Outreach Center is a nonprofit organization that provides the homeless with a place to stay for up to 6 months, plus beds, showers, 3 hot meals a day, and help getting back on their feet. The center recently renovated a new men's shelter, but they did not have the funds to purchase linens for the beds. So Operation Blessing provided sheets, mattress pads, pillows, blankets, and towels so that the dorm could be open. And you can find out more about Operation Blessing by going to its website at ob.org.